write a program that prints the word hello world on the screen. So now this is English. Let's do it in Python. So we have this hello world. We know that this is what we want to print on the screen. But what is the correct way in Python to say print on the screen, right? So that's what we need to do now. So in Python, right, and this is just a rule, this is just a grammar in Python. It says if you want to print something on the screen, you just write the sentence print, all right? Put a bracket this way, put a bracket that way, and whatever is in here gets printed on the screen. That's it, right? So now we print hello world on the screen. So if I go ahead, I select this, and you can run it from clicking the button here. All right. I'm having an issue. Just bear with me for a second. It says Python exec can't open file 000 variables, no such file in directory. So all right, I think I know what's going on here. Okay, so because it's still running this old file, I was running this before. So what we need to do is to do a fresh run, and I'm going to be running my working area here. All right, so we want to make sure that we're running the name of the file that's actually within our context. So let's go ahead and run this. All right, so now if you see here, it's printed this word hello world on the screen. And that's basically the exercise. This is the simplest Python program you can write. All right, at least based on what I think. All right, so in English, they said write a program that prints the word hello world on the screen. It's pretty verbose. It's a lot of words in English, right? It's very, very long. But when you talk about programming languages, they make it so simple, right? What am I trying to do? Print hello world on the screen. All right, good. Print hello world on the screen. Is that easy? All right, and this is how I want us to think about programming. Literally take the concept of what you're trying to do, and the thing is, programming languages make it so easy to implement. All right, English is so long. Write a program that prints the word hello world on the screen. That's so long. All right, in Python, in formal languages, and they call all of this formal languages, right? Things like Python are called formal languages, and these are some terms that you might want to also know. These are called formal languages. So in formal languages like Python, Java, SQL, all of that, right? Ruby, all of those are formal languages. PHP, right? And there are thousands of them. They make it so simple to implement whatever it is you want to do. So while English will make me do something this long, Python, so simple. Print, then the quotes, right? You have to put in that quote. And then whatever it is you want to print in here, then that gets printed on the console, which is what we've seen here. All right, so guys, there you have it. That's our very, very, very first and most basic Python program. And because I'm following the standards of the course, this one will be hashtag 0.1. That's our first exercise that we've just completed. All right, now, something I also want to call out as we went through this. As I was going through this, you notice you're asking, but why am I putting this hash or pound or whatever you call this in front of certain things, and I'm not putting it in front of other things? All right. And so when you say hash, or pound, bear with me for calling it hash. I think it's actually called pound. This is a comment. This will not run and is not part of Python language. All right, so whatever, so think about it this way, is this is a canvas. If I write anything in here, when I click run, it takes this, it translates it into something that Python can understand, and then Python actually executes and does it. All right, but we know Python doesn't understand whatever I wrote here like this, right? Write a program that prints the word hello on the screen. We understand because we speak English. Python doesn't understand that. The Python interpreter doesn't understand that. All right, so let's add another key term here, Python interpreter. I'm putting all these key terms, so if you're following along and you want a refresher of what we wrote, so that you can see them on the screen. Syntax, grammar, vocabulary, formal languages, Python interpreter. Those are some of the concepts that you have to be aware of as you're going down that journey of programming. But the Python interpreter doesn't understand all of this. This is English. And the way you tell the Python interpreter is that ignore whatever I'm writing here because it's not part of the Python language, is to put this pound sign in front of it. All right. So whenever you're writing a program, if you want to put a comment, which is always very important to do, because sometimes you put in comments to tell Python to ignore certain things, or so that if somebody else comes to your program, if I was to give my program to somebody else and they came to my program, it would be nice for them to have some context around what's going on, right? And you can add that context, explain things in English, using comments, inject those comments so that they can then read your comments and they can know exactly what's going on. A lot of programmers would always put comments on their code, all right? So for example, here I'm writing print hello world on the screen, all right? I can make a comment here, say, this line below prints hello world on the screen. All right, so I can write that print hello world on the screen. All right, so I can attach a comment to my code. So now when I run this, again, it's going to print hello world on the screen. All right, it just printed hello world on the screen, but it doesn't run my comment because I put the pound sign in front of it. Guess what happens if I take the pound sign out? All right, now it thinks that this is Python code. All right, you can see it's already all underlined and there is a lot of issues there. All right, so if I try to run this, guess what will happen? Ta-da! All right, so if I scroll up down here, you can see it says syntax error, invalid syntax. Python doesn't recognize this. This is not in the format that Python understands. Like, this is not the format that Python understands. And then, so this violates one of the rules of Python, one of the syntax of Python, right? Remember, we talked about syntax is the way Python has to be written. So because it violates the syntax of Python, Python says, that I don't understand that, right? And then it complains and it throws the error and it doesn't print anything on the screen. Now that I commented that back out, if I go ahead and run the code again, all right, now it looks good. Python ignores that and then it prints my hello world on the screen. So guys, there you have it. We've gone through the second piece of concept that I wanted also understand, which is basically understanding how to put comments. And you can put a comment on the line before, or you can put a comment on the side, right? And say this is a comment as well on the side. It doesn't really matter, right? As long as there is a pound before it, Python ignores that. As long as you have this pound sign before it, Python will read this, execute it, but ignore everything after that, right? You can choose to take this and put it below. So you can actually surround everything, right? Like I can surround everything this way. But if I still run this, it's going to run. Why? Because Python reads this, prints on the screen, ignores that, comes below, ignores it. So it doesn't matter where you put your comment. Python can still go ahead and ignore it. And we can put multiple lines of comment. So it doesn't have to be just one single line of comment. We can put comment 1, comment 2, right? So there could be multiple lines of comment. It doesn't just have to be one single line of comment, right? So comment 3. All right. So to me, I believe that the more comments you put on your code, the better. It makes it easy to read, especially if you start building very, very big and complex applications. Sometimes you're writing program and you give it to somebody and they have no idea what you were doing because there's no comment. All right. As a developer, it's best practice to put comments around it. So this is a way that you can put a single line of comment. You can put multiple lines of comments, and I'm going to show you the syntax. If you wanted to put a block of comments, so let's say, let me copy this and bear with me 1 second here, Control Z. I'll bring that down. All right. Let's take out the hashes here. Let me show you another way to put comments. All right. So instead of having to put pounds and pound signs in front of all of this, like we just did, all right, what's another way to put a comment? Very easy. So what you can do is you can use triple quotes here. All right, you can see it's commented that one out, and then I can go down and I can close that. All right, so basically this would behave almost similar to this, right? It's gonna tell the program to ignore whatever is written in here. So imagine you had a big block of text, many lines, right? You wanted to make it all commented out within your code. You can go on every single line and put the pound sign in front of it, or you can simply do this. And what it would do is it's also still gonna comment out everything that I wrote here. And if you notice, my code ran without failing. So this is another way that you can put comments within your code. All right. So I hope this helps. I hope this has shown you how to go ahead and to put comments within your code. Very powerful. It might seem like I'm hitting on the mundane stuff, but guys, if you don't have the fundamentals right as your programmer, you might really struggle once you start getting into more advanced concepts.